for Pandia Health. If you are having trouble hearing us, please let me know so we can adjust and fix that issue. We are on a different computer. We're trying to set up a little, sorry. But wait, there, no. There we go. There we go. This is my mom. We're doing a Q&A today, and she has lovingly and willingly said yes. So we're so excited to have her here. She's an OBGYN herself. We're going to be doing a fun Q&A. And just to remind everybody, Pandia Health offers free delivery of birth control. And yay, Angela said she can hear us, so this is fantastic. Really, really nice. So thank you so much. Hopefully all of you are back. Sorry about that. Feel free to drop a comment or in the comment box or questions. I'm going to tell everyone, let us know your questions so we can answer them. And we're going to get started. And like I said, this is my mom, Janet Lefkowitz. She is an OBGYN herself, and she is going to be doing a Q&A today. Pandia Health offers free delivery of birth control, and we also have so many other amazing platforms like Instagram. We have our Facebook, of course, and we have an amazing blog with people updating articles and everything. And Instagram, Facebook, between the two, we all have great content, and other interns like myself do some fun little webinars. And today's a Q&A. So Angela says she loves that we're in Pandia Blue.
Pandia Blue.
It was planned. So here we go. We're going to get right into our questions. I have them up on here. So we're going to start. Number one, what is a favorite female-founded company of yours?
There are so many innovative companies these days, in all sectors, business, health, and I had the opportunity to hear Sarah Blakely speak, and she's the founder of Spanx. Yeah, and her story is interesting, and I went to hear her speak as part of a bigger event, and I was a little bit skeptical, I have to say, because she creates shapewear, and I thought, oh my goodness, like in this day and age of trying to get women to feel comfortable about their bodies and like own themselves, to like, was this person dictating how we should look and feel about our bodies? However, she felt it when she spoke about empowering women and really making her mission is really to help women feel the best that they can feel about themselves and their bodies. And so I thought that was really interesting. And then especially as I get older and my body has changed, sorry folks, it does happen, but
we're
not
candid
always,
here. We're candid,
but not always for the worse, but just a new normal. And with hormones changing and things like that, I think it's really great to have the opportunity for women to get to know their new bodies as they change. And sometimes I think shapewear can contribute to that.
That's a good point. Snaps for body positivity. Yes.
Body positivity.
Hi, Susanna. Thank you for joining. Again, this is my mom, Janet Lefkowitz. She's an OBGYN herself, but today we're doing a special Q&A in honor of Mother's Day that just recently passed. And we are going to be talking about we just went over her favorite female-founded company, and we're now going to talk a little about how birth control has changed since you were my age, which I think that's a really great question. So what do you have to say on that?
I do think that's a great question. There is so much that has evolved and developed in the world of contraception. And I think women have so many more options and choices now. And in addition to the newer formulations of birth control pills, which really have been made more tolerable and lessening side effects by the different formulations. There are also so many opportunities for LARC, which is long-acting reversible contraception, things like the IUD, intrauterine device, and an implant. There's a brand name called Nexplanon. And this has allowed people to have contraception that they do not need to do anything about for years. Also, there are things that you don't have to take daily, things like rings or patches.
Set it and forget it.
Yes, well, that
Set
is
it and
definitely
forget
the
it.
work. Set it and forget it.
So that's what you think has
Um,
changed besides. So it's gone from evolving as like the birth control pill, which Pandia offers for free with free delivery, but
well,
to having a bunch of options like you said, the IUD, arm implant patch, ring.
a shot. And in addition to the pills, which I think have gotten so much better over the years because the formulations have lessened the side effect while maximizing the and optimizing the efficacy. So what's really great is that accessibility is better. So like the fact that you're doing this makes me really proud. Thank you, Pandia.
Susanna actually said, you have a phenomenal daughter, so do not forget that. I also a phenomenal mother, so there's that too. So we're going to go on to another question somebody had earlier, and if you have any questions yourself, drop them in the comments. Also check out our Instagram, our blog, everything else. We have some amazing other college interns that do some great webinars. And so another question somebody asked was your aha moment? So do you have, because my understanding is she didn't necessarily always want to be a doctor or go into gynecology work. You studied dance and wanted to be a rabbi at some point. So talk us through your aha moment.
I've had many aha moments in my life, and I really I was in theater, performing arts, and I really enjoyed that, but I also really didn't like not working. So I wanted to be able to earn a living by doing what I love. And it hasn't taken away the fact that I have an appreciation and enjoy the arts and performing arts. But what I really found is that I really loved being engaged with people and being able to have conversations and helping them know themselves and get to know them. And I really felt very strongly about the idea that we have spiritual sides in addition to our physical well-being, and but I also saw the world somewhat in a more secular way at times, and thought that healthcare was going to be what I would do. So that's a good point. So did I go on too much?
No, that's a good point. No, everybody appreciate it, I assume. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments again. We're going to go on with, okay, somebody had, I think this was Susanna had previously asked, who was your first love? I don't even know if I know this.
So
I feel like you would classically say my dad.
Well, I mean, first love. I mean, are we talking about Scott Baio, who I thought was dreamy on TV? I mean, that's changed.
Relationship.
Scott Baio. I mean, first love where it was reciprocated and not just on a TV magazine. I mean, like that's a big question. I think I had only one other serious boyfriend prior to
is that Michael?
Your
Bill?
dad.
Who was it?
Michael.
I met Michael.
I guess that was my first love.
That's sweet.
But your dad is my, forever love.
That's very
at least
deep.
For now.
Susanna also agrees with your Scott Baio.
I mean, right? Susanna, really. And I really don't agree with a lot of what he stands for now, but it's okay. I loved him.
And now we are going to change into a different question, but comment if you have one for yourselves. And just a reminder, Pandia Health, we offer free delivery of birth control.
So love that. Accessible birth control. Making it easy for people to get what they need.
Snaps all around. So this is actually a very interesting question, and I think highly debated. Do you agree that with Gen Z being super gender fluid and all of this being more accepting of gender fluidity and how all of that's changing, the slogan, do you think it's outdated? The future is female?
I just had this conversation actually, and I do think it is important to understand that women or people who identify as female still struggle with equity and equality, and where we can argue that and I truly believe that gender identity and being that should be something that people are able to choose freely and without consequence. But I think that there is still a, a, um, a differentiation. What's the word? By binomial? No. Oh gosh. No, just women and men, and that it's male, female, and that is still very much what is considered the norm, which I don't necessarily think is the only norm. So, in that traditional way of looking at things, male or female, there is still a problem.
Yeah, no, I think it's still very much. I think the whole idea behind if the future is female is empowerment and like the idea,
so
and
I
I still
agree with
that's
that.
very much a thing. But I just thought it was interesting. My friend had asked me that the other day, and I thought it was a interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah.
So, Angela says, how did the talk about birth control or periods happen? Okay, so I'm going to go with this answer first. I feel like there was never a talk because growing up with a mother who is a gynecologist, it's like the dinner table conversation is like talking about um, birth control and talking about like everything that goes on. So I don't think there was ever a formal sit down talk that I feel like is stereotypical for like teenagers or everything. There's never a talk about periods or birth control in the traditional sense.
And I definitely did not have the talk. It's amazing. There's a funny story that goes along with when I was little. I came to my parents with my brother and sister, and long and the short, it just was never a real conversation. And I do know that Daisy's right. I think we talked
there was no
about
sit down
birth control and periods, and there was no real definite time of talk. But I think every woman should share or person should share their stories about periods and birth control, so people feel like it's normal to talk about.
Yes, and Susanna brings up kind of going back to the previous question. Susanna says, I agree. It's all about learning to be more respectful and learning to just kind of understand. I don't think it's necessarily like people who just don't necessarily know, or I think it's about understanding another person's perspective, or also understanding like their point of view or how times are kind of changing. So I agree, but it's like the idea is that about empowerment.
I absolutely think so, and things that can help make that change and empower people further. In my experience in my practice, we ask people on patient intake forms what they would prefer to be called, what pronoun they use, and we try to respect that. And there's a whole sensitivity that needs to be built up amongst healthcare providers, certainly, to respect how people identify, because I think it helps make the conversations more meaningful and also allows somebody to be engaged in their own healthcare to the extent that they should.
So well said. So we're going to do one or two more questions and wrap up after that. So if any of you have another question you want to let us know, put it in the comments below. But otherwise, there was another question. Sorry, loading it, bringing it up. You kind of touched on this, but what was your parents, my grandparents, your parents, what was your relationship like with them in terms of, I guess, learning about birth control, as you said, and just women's health in general? Because I mean, it's different for me growing up with you, because it's, again, we'll be at the dinner table and like eating my soup or something. It's like talking about birth control. That's how I grew up. So, wow, thoughts?
I don't know how explicit I can get into on this in this forum, but I had parents who were very open about discussions and knowing your body and appropriate touch and not inappropriate touch, and that starts the conversation. I think if you start those kind of conversations, then it kind of naturally segues into the idea that sexuality and having sex and the potential for pregnancy is sort of a tag to that kind of conversation. And then how do you prevent against unplanned pregnancy? And so really it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. And Angela, just last question here. Common myth about being an OBGYN, or maybe crazy things you've heard about birth control, etc.
Angela,
that's a great question.
It's an amazing question and way too long to answer in the time we have to full detail. But I think one of the things that people really, when you're choosing or it chooses you, the area of medicine that you go into, One of the, I think the common myths is, gosh, are you going to want to stare at, am I allowed to say that?
I think
Okay.
so.
Or do you want to stare at vaginas all day? And I'm sorry if that's not allowed on Facebook, but I think that that is really absolutely a very small portion of what I do throughout my day to day. And yes, it is part of it, but it's mostly to check on the health of things. And really, it's more about building relationships and communicating about and empowering people to help take care of themselves in the way that they want to.
I would say that this is a sweet moment here. I would say that
I'm
something
ready.
like I'd say that's something that's admirable, especially about what you do, is like you are creating relationships with all these women, and you have a certain connection and ability that, and Dad says this a lot too, is you put things in terms people don't, that are understandable. You're not using all these complicated medical terms nobody understands, but you're also creating a relationship. You're checking up. You're friends with. You're seeing their baby, what babies you delivered 10 years later. So I think you're really personable and great at maintaining relationships. But I think that's especially why you're good at what you do.
Oh, thank you. I love what I do, and I think that I wouldn't. There are easier ways to make money, and certainly ways to make more money in this day and age. I love that I have job security, and love that I will always feel that there are people who will benefit from work that I do. So
yeah. So thanks for listening to our Q&A with my mother. This is Janet Lefkowitz, and once again, Pandia Health offers free delivery of birth control. You can use my referral code Daisy. If
who I'm very proud of. She's been amazing, and I just love seeing this generation of young women becoming engaged in work that I think is meaningful, not just for oneself, but for that will benefit everyone.
And Susanna mentions she's proud that I chose to be a part of Pandia Health, but I think you were a big part of that because I've grown up with reproductive health and women's health being a main priority and fighting point in my life. So yeah, so
props to us.
Yes. Woo! And tune in next week on
Thank you, Pandia Health.
Yes, thank you, Pandia Health. And
free delivery of birth control.
Exactly. She's got it. But tune in next Thursday. Check out our blog, check out our website. Monday nights, Dr. Sophia Yen, the co-founder and CEO of Pandia Health, does a live talk on our Instagram. So head over there and check out all the other interns that do great work, whether it be their blog posts or outreach on Instagram. And thank you all so much for listening. And yeah, they hope to see us again. So we hope to see you again.
Stay healthy and sane and prevent unplanned pregnancies if that is what the goal is.
With Pandia Health Services.
With Pandia Health Services.
Thank you so much. Bye.